as you wait a day and then come try to do this again tomorrow or on Monday and you forget, wait, where do I start? So we're going to record all of this and do much more of these in the coming weeks. And if you have any thoughts on topics you'd like to cover, shoot me an email. Let me know. We're happy to oblige. You guys are, this is kind of the new normal now. And we're all under the impression that even when this whole thing blows over and everything goes back to kind of normalish, it's never going to be exactly the same. Still, these digital strategies are going to be strong, and I think there'll be just kind of different operating rules going forward. So this is a great start, and I would also love to be included once you do this process on your own. If you want a test dummy, I'll be your test dummy. Send me that email with your Moxi presentation or your virtual open house tour on Moxi. I'd love to take a look at it and give you any commentary or feedback. But we're really ready to get started. So I'm going to turn this over to Joe. We're going to mute everyone for the time being, but at the bottom, you'll see the chat function. I know you guys are all capable of chatting. So use the chat function on the bottom column of the. If I feel it's relevant, I will pause Joe and jump in. Otherwise, we're going to hold all questions till the end. But again, we're going to record this for your records. So hopefully you can just kind of pay attention and we'll go from there. So over to you, Joe.
And everybody on this call knows how hard it is to pause me. So, you know, that's some serious wrangling that has to go on.
Yeah, that's going to be my talent today is pausing Joe.
Yoo-hoo, hey, slow down, Baldy. All right, let's go ahead and share the screen here so everyone gets to see what we're looking at. So for most of you, I know many of you in this class have been on in Moxi presentation classes before, and so the virtual open house Moxi is very similar to a standard listing CMA, with the exception that you don't necessarily want or need to add any comps. The idea is to build a digital presentation that can be available across any digital platform. So that means all your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever else you happen to be using, Snapchat, all that kind of fun stuff. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this presentation that we're going to build today, and you're going to design it in such a way that it makes somebody who's opening that presentation feel like they're looking at the home in a new way, or getting sort of an advantage or some benefits to virtually seeing this home as opposed to not being able to look at anything but pictures. And so when you log into Moxi presentation, it's just present.bhhsutah.com. Or, of course, if you want, you can go to the intranet, where we work really hard to make sure that all the stuff that you ever need is kind of listed there for you. So there's the present login right there. I'm going to jump over into the Moxi platform now, and I'm going to change my annotation tools so I have a little spotlight kind of floating around. So hopefully that'll look like something you can draw your eye with as we sort of go around the presentation thing. As Jamie said, if you got questions, go ahead, type them in the chat, and then we'll just go ahead and clear those out when we get finished. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the upper right-hand corner. We're going to create a new presentation. This is something that you're familiar with. You probably noticed, if you've been in Moxi in the last couple of months, there's some new stuff showing up. They're expanding their platform. We think this is one of the better vendors that we've chosen. They continue to add value by taking this product that we originally got as a CMA tool and really kind of turned it into something that's super cool all the way around. So we're going to do, for our virtual open house, we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose to be a seller standard presentation. Now, once you hit continue, you're going to be asked to use a template. So you can go ahead and use like the default template here that we set up in the brokerage. So even though this has every single page that you really can do with Moxi, we're definitely going to trim that down, because with a virtual open house, we want the focus to be on the property and some of the other cool things we're going to show you today, some of the custom pages and video embedding and things like that that we can do. So once we selected the template, we'll go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to show you at the end how you can save that template as your own. So for our purposes today, just make sure that you're getting your listing source right, whichever MLS that you're using. And instead of putting in like prepared for, where you typically do something like this would be the names of the people that you're presenting a CMA for. In this case, we're just going to give it a name that's like, let's say this is our 8690 I always do that shift at the first. I don't know why. 8690. I think it's Silver Spur. We're going to use one of Trish Clark's listings as one of our things today. So 8690 Silver Spur. And then we're going to call it the virtual open house. So we already got this set up. So we're going to hit create, and then it's going to do our little spinning wheel of creation for a second, and it's going to put us into our template. Now, those of you that have been in this Moxi class before, have played with the product, you're very familiar with how we teach this, where we start on the left with our subject property, and we just kind of hop down our menu here across the top until we get to our pages. It's very similar, except for we're not going to spend a lot of time searching for comps, because what we want to do, again, is highlight our subject property. So as we're in our subject property window here, one of the easiest things to do is to copy the data from the MLS. Now I'm just going to jump over to our Berkshire Hathaway website here, because I know all you guys use it all day, every day, and we're going to get this number. So 120.00883. So we'll go back in here and we'll say 120.00883. I hit copy. That goes out, queries the MLS, and it brings over everything we need to know. So this is exactly right. It's our 8690 Silver Spur Road with the number 1028. We got a good hero shot coming over here on the property. And of course, if you forgot and you don't like the hero shot that the product chooses for you, you can always just come over here and hit MLS, and we'll populate all the photos on the MLS. Sometimes it takes a second here. So you have all these different photos. So if you want to choose a different hero image, you can go ahead and do that at this time. Now you're looking at this, you're looking at the location, you look at all this information. Now, because this is a virtual open house, we'd assume that all this stuff is correct, because we're literally just pulling data from the MLS. So this is posted on the MLS. This is an active listing. So you just might want to take some time to go through here, just make sure that all this is exactly what you want. And usually at this point, we actually tell people to go ahead and replace these remarks with something different. That would be in the case of a CMA, when you're trying to get somebody to list with you, then this is where you get a chance to kind of show that you know the area and you're an expert in your field. This case, though, we're trying to sell this home, right? And so even though people can't come and tour the house physically, we want to make sure that this looks good. So like all MLS public remarks, you know, sometimes they get a little bit repetitive, or sometimes they can be simplistic, or sometimes they can be fantastic. In this case, because it's Trish Clark's, we know they're going to be fantastic. But if you wanted to, you can also come in here and you could also add additional remarks. Again, the focus is to give the person who's viewing this presentation all this information and the ability to see something in a little bit different light. So we go through here, we have all this information. We know what we're listing it at. It's an active listing, so we don't have to worry necessarily about sold price or any of that other kind of stuff. And we're just going to go ahead and hit continue. So now this is where you would typically go and find some comps, right? One of the things that's interesting about the Moxi Present is that as you do this, if you were to have like a buyer presentation where somebody had reached out, and they say, hey, I looked at your virtual open house, you know, I'm looking at some, I don't know if that's the right house for me, but I'd love to see what you know about other homes in the area. You can go ahead and kind of modify this virtual open house by adding some comps and then sending that new link to that potential buyer. But for today, let's just focus on building a presentation that can kind of go anywhere. So because we're a non-disclosure state, we don't want to have public sold information posted, especially like on Facebook or other kinds of social media. I'm sure some of your other friendly neighborhood agents would remind you that that's not a good thing to do. So in this case, we're just going to leave these empty. We don't have to go get any comps at all. So all we got to do is skip right over that, and we're going to go to our estimate, okay? Now again, when you're doing a CMA, this is the time when you would typically kind of say, hey, we're in this range. We think we're going to be between $1,050,000 and maybe $1,075,000 or something like that. But this is a virtual open house, and so this is the offering. This is the offer price. So we don't need to change this. This is just, it is what it is. However, I would think it's very, very important at this point in time to type some things in here that explain why you priced it the way you did. And that could be some phrasing such as, given current market conditions, some other smart things that you can type in here. then you can explain why it is that you're putting the listing price at $1,050,000. The cool thing about this is that when we get to this part of the presentation, these things, all these slides, these parts of the presentation will look very familiar to you from the proxy, but now we get to do the fun stuff, which is the customization. So that's coming up next. So we're gonna go ahead and hit continue here, and now we are at our pages menu. So we've already got our cover page, and we already have that we've got this big title here that it's the 8690 Silver Spur Virtual Open House. And you sit there, you go, wait, the address is right there below. I want to change that. So over here on the left-hand side, you go ahead and you can change any one of these pages by highlighting the page and then just clicking on the pencil. So I'm going to come over here, and I could add a cover title if I wanted to, or I could also drop the address like this if I wanted to, or the date. And of course, if you have an open house, you don't want to necessarily put a date on it. So let's take the date off like that. And we'll drop that other address there. I'll hit the X. Now we've got a new cover page. One of the cool things about Moxi is that it's real time. So if you make changes, you get that little spinning wheel and it's all saved. So you never have to worry about hitting save and wondering if your work is gone. So if you go down the list, we have our property summary. Now this is important, right? If you've got a virtual tour, you should probably have all the property information in there. We know it's in the Jeremy Ranch area. And here's the agent remarks. So remember back at the beginning when we talked about the subject property and how those agent remarks are going to show up. So again, this is your chance to sort of customize that so that when someone's looking at this from the first time, especially if they're looking at it over a computer or on their phone, it gives you an opportunity to really kind of make sure that this property summary and these remarks are reflective of how you want the property to be presented. We don't have any listings, right? So we have this listing location map where we can leave it right here. The cool thing about doing this Moxi presentation virtually is that these are all hot, right? So basically anytime I click a picture, I can go right into all the pictures of this property, just like that, which makes it nice and easy to sort of get somebody engaged in the process of looking at what you've got going on in the property. However, if you use the Spotlight Photography or some other photographer, what you know is that they compile for you this beautiful video. They put some music on and they do this, they call it the Ken Burns effect, right? Where we have these soft fades between these different photos. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to draw the viewer in as soon as possible. So maybe instead of just starting off with a simple property summary, right, and then going straight into like the listing location map, maybe what we really want to do is embed the video that we see right here. Go to the microsite. Maybe what we really want to do is embed this video. Where we see how we have it kind of going back and forth and it's fading. It's looking all nice and lovely and whatever. Got some good music rocking. And so we'll say, how do we take that and put that into our Moxi presentation? Well, if you're using Spotlight, then you have a Spotlight dashboard. And so you can log into your Spotlight dashboard, which I have done. Pretend I'm Trish Clark. We love you, Trish. So this is for listing right here is the 8690. And all you have to do to take that video and make it part of your Moxi presentation is you follow to the right on your listing and you go to this More tab. And down here on the More, you're going to go right to the middle where it says Embed Tour. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click Embed Tour. And this is this cool little page that Brett and his team over there at Spotlight have created for everybody. And at the very, very top, it asks you, what do you want to embed? You want to embed the tour window, which is basically embedding a web page, or we're more interested in that actual video segment where we have the music and the pictures and everything else going back and forth. So I'm going to hit this down arrow here, and you notice that I have an option for video walkthrough. So I'm going to select video walkthrough. I'm going to turn on autoplay media because why not? And then as we come down here, we notice that we have these recommended window sizes. We have 673, 800, and 1000 by 693. Excuse me, we're gonna make it big because that's how we do things here at Utah Properties. We make it big and beautiful. So we're gonna select that. And by the way, every time you choose one of these sizes, you'll notice that the embed code subtly changes, right? It makes a little bit of a difference. So make sure you've selected the size that you want, and then look how cool this is. I hover over the highlighted section of my embed code. I'm just going to right click, and that pulls up my options to copy that particular video. And then I'm going to jump back over into my presentation, and I'm going to go here to the top where it says add page. I'm going to click on add page, and I'm going to create my own brand new Moxi page. So hit create new, and then it asks me, do you want to build one or are you going to upload one? In this case, we're going to build it because I've got this dynamic video for my virtual open house. I want to make sure it plays as people open up this tour. So I go ahead and I hit build page, and then it asks me, okay, do you want, what kind of shape do you want? You want a title with a bunch of images and some text, or a 4x4, or all this kind of stuff? I think for video, the best thing to do is just do this nice big square, right? Because you don't necessarily need to introduce the video. They're watching the presentation. They already know it's a virtual open house about, in our case, 8690. And I'm going to hit the little create button here. And all these cool things that I can do. I can upload an image, so I can create like a really nice transition slide between the open house and something else going on. I can add a video, and we're going to talk a little bit about that kind of video in just a second. And then this last little button is more, okay? So we're going to click more, and that brings up this very complicated looking, it's called a WYSIWYG, which is short for what you see is what you get, but a WYSIWYG editor. And in this WYSIWYG editor, there's only really one thing we're kind of interested in. I want to center my video, and then over here, I want to go up to this little icon, and if you hover over the icon, it'll actually tell you, oh, this is the embed media icon. And that's exactly what we want to do, because you remember over here on our Spotlight dashboard, we got the embed code, right? So we're just going right back into our page, and we're going to click on embed media, and all we do is paste the code we just copied. That's it. You don't have to understand what any of these carets or slashes or any of that means. You just cut and paste. So once you've got that in there, you hit OK. And now we have this beautiful video embedded into our Moxi presentation. Now, because this is a new page and it belongs in my Moxi library, I have to save it and give it a name, right? So I'm going to click this save button up here. It's going to bring a screen up, and I could say something like the 8690 photo tour, and hit save. So that's done. It's in there now. We love it. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit the X button, and it's going to shoot me right back to my page screen that I was on before I came in here to create the page. So now if we look at the order of our presentation, I have this really cool cover page, and then I have the property summary page, and then I get my photo tour. So I get right here, I hit play. Oh, isn't that magical? So now here's the coolest thing about this. They don't have to leave your presentation. So keep in mind, when they pull this up in a link, it's got your big, beautiful face at the top. It's got all your contact information. And what you've done is you've actually contained them within this Moxi presentation to look at this cool tour, right? It's all part of it now, okay? So now with a single link, I'll go ahead and turn this off so we don't hear the lovely elevator music. But now when you have this particular link, no matter if you share it on social media, if you email it to your SOI, if you create a cool new e-card that you're going to send out over the marketing resource, no matter where you send this URL for this presentation, now this is embedded inside of that presentation. Plus, you look like an audio video genius, right? So now our order now is we have our cover page, our property summary. We just looked at our photo tour, and now we're in our listing location map. So we can sit there, we go, okay, the map's pretty cool. Does it really kind of give us the feeling and you know, really what we want out of this? And if it's just like this basic, this is like a really simple sort of map, but you've got some other information that you'd rather show, let's go over to Google Maps, which is just maps.google.com, and let's just search the address. So we'll go to 8690 Silver Spur Road, and we actually have to add the number, the unit number, which I believe was 1028, yeah. So we'll go back here, and we'll go to Silver Spur Road, 1028, and we search for that. And it brings up our Silver Spur, maybe we have to say unit 1028, something like that. There we go. Okay, so we got this number 1028. So if you notice that this map right here looks a lot like the map that Moxi puts in the presentation. Funny enough, Moxi uses the Google embed map, but here's something super cool. So you can go over here, and now I come down to my map. Get this out of the way. and I change it to satellite view. Ooh, now we're talking. Now we got some dimension and some color, some other stuff going on here. So in this particular case, now we have this as more of a satellite view, and we can also take this map and we can zoom in, get a little closer if we want. And of course, it's selling the amazing, perks of Jeremy Ranch in the Park City area. Maybe we want to zoom out. We want to say, look, this is how you, when you come in on the 80, this is exactly where this particular property is. Now the cool thing is, once we've done this and we have this looking the way we want to, all I got to do is go right over here to the left-hand side where it has all my Google Map options. I click my little share button, and you'll notice that it says embed a map. Well, we just embedded the photo tour. We're good to go. Why not let's do this again? But Google does a cool thing where it lets you do a small, medium, large, or custom size map. I think the large is just fine, in particular for any sort of virtual presentation. So we just do that map, and then look what it's done for you right here. All that code is all laid out in one line. And so all you got to do is take that code and hit that copy HTML button. And now I go back to my Moxi presentation. I'm going to add a page. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to build my page. And in this case, we're going to do something like this. I want a little bit different shape on the custom slide. So up here on my text, I'm going to say something smart like, I'm going to change my format to nice big text. I'm going to say the Jeremy Ranch area. And over here, I'm going to center justify that just because I'm a little OCD that way. And on this area over here, now we can go into our More tab. Remember, hit More. I'm going to come up here to my box, and I'm going to hit my little embed button. Put the code in there. Hit OK. Bam, I got a map now on that side. Now check this out. For those of you that know, we have our own YouTube channel. So Berkshire Hathaway Utah Properties has its own YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel are dozens and dozens of professionally produced, beautiful videos that you can use as part of your virtual open house. For example, if somebody is out of the state, they don't really know what's going on with the Jeremy Ranch or Jordanelle or any of those kinds of things, you can go to our YouTube page. So just go over to YouTube and type in BHHS Utah. You can leave the J out if you don't want to. And then on that channel, so it looks like this when you search for BHHS Utah. This is our channel right here. You can always tell because it has the higher number of videos. And so you just open the channel. And then once you open the channel, you have all these options. Just go to the second option right here where it says videos. You click on that. And this is every video that we produced over the years, right? So this particular property is in Jeremy Ranch. So let's go look for the Jeremy Ranch area video. And scroll down here. There it is. Welcome to Pine Brook, Jeremy Ranch in Summit County. So we're going to open this video. Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Great. So we're going to go ahead and hit pause on this. And right below the video on all your YouTube is this little button called share. Okay. So you click on that share button and it gives you this cool little shortened URL. So I copy that URL. I go back to my presentation. And now on this side of our cool page, we click video. So video works on Moxi. Video, there's 3 types of video that all you need is a URL. So they built an API between Moxi and YouTube, Vimeo, or Dailymotion, right? And good thing because those are the top platforms anyway. So all we're gonna do is take that little URL we copied. We're gonna hit it right here and we're gonna paste it. And I'm gonna come down to the bottom here. I'm gonna add that content. And now I've got an embedded video. I've got a dynamic satellite-based map. I've got this really cool text that I typed myself. And you can see how by combining images of like your own experiences. So if you know the neighborhoods or you know local restaurants, there's a cafe or someplace like that that you love in Jeremy Ranch, or like you want to say Circle J Clubhouse or the Jeremy Ranch House or any of these other types of things that are on there. Hey, Billy Blanco's, right? So you might have one of these pages that just embeds the Billy Blanco's menu or any of the other things that that you have in the surrounding areas. And by using these custom pages, you get this really cool look. So now I come over here again, because it's a custom page, I got to give it a name. So I can just say, we'll call this the J Ranch. Of course, if I could type the J Ranch area and video. So we'll call that, we hit save. It's done. We're good to go. And then all I got to do is come over here, close out of this, and now we're back to our presentation. So look how cool and dynamic this is, right? We have all these kind of layouts and things that are going on. These are actually, this is dynamic, meaning that the map you just embedded in your presentation will work. So they can actually get directions from this right off of this particular map. It'll pop them there and get them right to the place where they need to go. And then of course this video, you hit play, it's this really cool, welcome to Pine Brook and Jeremy Ranch. I love it. So then what we want to do is we say, but we also want to make sure that they understand the Jordanelle, right? And other things that are there that we can do. So again, you can create a new page. You just go create new, build a page. I want to show you what it looks like to embed a YouTube video on the big square, right? So we already showed you kind of the overlapping design type of thing. In this case, let's just say, what does it look like if we embed a huge video? So I go back over to our YouTube channel, hit the back arrow here so I can look at all the different videos that I might want to take a look at. And here's our Welcome to Jordanelle video. So I open that up. And again, I just scroll down a little bit to this share tab, hit share, copy the link. I go back to my Moxi presentation, click video, paste the link, add it. I've got this big, beautiful page now that's just video, okay? So there's a lot you can do in terms of bringing the tools and the digital content that's already been out there and created into your Moxi presentation so that you can go ahead and really customize this. The idea, again, is that when somebody opens this link and starts to scroll through the presentation, it feels like they're part of that walkthrough. It feels like they're doing things that are super cool. So we'll go ahead and save this. Again, we'll just call this the Jordanelle video. Of course, again, spelling an issue. We'll go like that, and we hit save, and we're good. So I close this now, and now I've created 3 custom pages in less than 10 minutes all around this particular property. So let's take a look at our flow, right? Here's our cover page. It's the open house, announcing the open house. Here's the property summary page. We go right into the cool photo tour that we embedded from Spotlight. By the way, if you have paid for something like a Matterport or a 3D walkthrough, you can actually log into your Matterport account. And I'm working with Spotlight right now to see if we can get these links onto the Spotlight dashboard as well. But all the Matterports have the exact same feature. They have a little share feature, and it does exactly what we've done the last 3 times. It gives you some embed code, and so you can throw that in there as well. So it's all part of that, and we'll give you updates when we hear more from Spotlight about whether or not that can be one dashboard. So there's only one place you go. So here's our listing location map, and you're like, you know what? I kind of like my little layout. I like this a little bit better. I don't need a listing location map, but maybe we'll just kind of leave it like this. I don't know. We'll kind of see what it takes. Now we have our Jordanelle video in there. We have our listing overview page, which obviously is a single page that doesn't have listings since we didn't get any comps. So what do? We come over here to our X, and we just take it out. We don't need the side-by-side comparison page. There's only one of them, so we just take it out. We don't need status comparisons because we didn't do any of that, so we just take it out. So that 13-page presentation that we started with, you start to see how by removing a lot of these, we're really focusing all the attention on the digital content of this property and how we can make it work. So we don't need to worry about days on market. We don't need to worry about price and size. We don't need to worry about our estimate comparison. And here's our pricing analysis. So remember we talked about saying some things that explain why you priced it the way you did. So that's how they show up right there. And then below that, we're going to get rid of our net proceeds. And then we end up with our agent profile page. One of the other reasons I love the Moxi situation present is that all of these are live links. Because what do you want them to do? You want them to contact you. That's what you want more than anything. So when they look at this presentation, even if they look at it on their phone, with one click, they can go to your email, they can go to your website, they can call you. It works straight right off of there. So now we've gone from a 13-page presentation to an 8-page presentation. And let's say that, okay, I kind of like this. Let's go see what it looks like in the real world, and then we'll figure out if we want to save it as a template or not. So then I'm just going to press the home button. So now we have this new presentation here. And one of the #1 things that trip up people when they try to use Moxi is they go to edit the presentation and they click on the picture, right? So clicking on the thumbnail launches the presentation. So you see this, it says creating your presentation, and now we are actually in the Moxi presentation that you're gonna post on social media and do all kinds of fun stuff with. So let's take a look at how it kind of feels. What's the flow like, right? So, all right, this is a presentation. It's got my name on there. Okay, I like it. And then we go into our property summary. And look at this. Look who's never leaving the screen, right? I got my stuff up here. That's my name, my agent. So all of these things that are in here, these are our property summary. So we go back there. Remember we talked about making the agent remarks reflective of what it is that you're trying to do with this particular property. And then you come down below, and here's our photo tour. I don't have to pop out. I don't go to another window. There's not tabs that are opening up. I'm in there and I'm watching this going. Now, if you're super creative or you're like interested in kind of, you know, doing a transition slide, maybe in between the property summary page and this page, we put up a picture of yourself. We say, on the next page, you'll have the opportunity to do a virtual walkthrough with music and the pictures, and they kind of go through there. They look at it like that. And again, if you have a Matterport, the Matterport will show up just like this would will. And again, just to follow up on that, right now you actually have to log into the Matterport dashboard to get that embed code, but we're working with Spotlight to have that as part of the Spotlight dashboard. So then we come down here, got all these cool little start stops. We put that in there. And then we come in here, it's our listing location map. If they want to click back on the picture of the house at any time, they can. These all go full screen. So it's very interactive, right? It gets people excited and allows them to kind of walk through this property in a way that is sort of guided by you, right? Because every time they scroll down the presentation, it's another spot that you're able to talk to them and use your personality and what it is that you want to do. So there's our listing location map. The next one we have is our Jeremy Ranch area and video. Welcome to Jeremy Ranch. Here's a better look of where it is. People start to see YouTube videos playing, going back and forth. And then down below here, we have our Jordanelle video. Again, just all set, ready to go. Very cool. And then we get into our pricing discussion, why we listed it the way we did. A little quick on the scroll there. So we have this up there. Here's those agent remarks we talked about, making sure that you have those in place and making sure that those work the way you want them to work. And then lastly, here's all these cool links, right? So every single one of these things is a link. So the better you do that, the better you have your profile in Moxi sort of built out, the more interactive it can be for you when you walk away. So when we look at this, we look at the flow, we go, okay, I like it, it's good. I'm gonna leave it the way it is. So I can close this link now. And when I come over here, I'm gonna go back into edit our presentation by clicking the pencil, right? I'm gonna jump over here to pages. And because we like this flow, I'm gonna come right here where it says save as template. And we're gonna save that as a template. And what's the title? We'll call this the likes special, because we all know Jeff is special. So we call this the likes special. And then down here, what you're seeing is these are all the places that you could use this exact template flow. So why would this make sense? Well, it wouldn't make sense necessarily for like a listing presentation or buyer presentation, but you might like them because with all this different, with a shorter version of your presentation, you have a little bit more flexibility. And so we just say, you know what, make this template available to all of them, right? So meaning when I start my presentation, I hit create. It doesn't matter if I pick buyer, seller, buyer tour, whatever. This version of these 8 slides with the way that we have these options set up will be available to all of those things. Just come down here and hit save. And we're good to go. So now let's take a second to think, what are we going to do with this presentation? Where are we going to put it? Well, there's 3 particular places that we think are really, really strong for it, right? The first one is you could use this Moxi presentation. Now that you're right where you are, you could just come over here to this send button and you can email it to somebody and say, hey, I know you're interested in this. This is a little bit more fluid and more colorful than a hot sheet. So go ahead and take a look at this, and you'll be able to do whatever it is that you want to do. And so when you look at this right now, you can you could send this anywhere you want. So this is send presentation. You put in the to field, you put in a little bit message, and away you go. So that's one of the things that you can do, is make that happen. So I hit send, and away that makes that go. And then the other thing that we want to do is we want to talk about how we put this on social media. So this view, when we hit view our presentation, view the web, you see this URL up here at the top, present.bhsutah.com / a whole bunch of stuff. That is a unique URL that's unique to your presentation. So that URL works as a post on Facebook. It works on a post on Instagram. It works as a text blast. It works as a anywhere you want to send a link. You can send it via email. But one of the most common things that we'd like to see is jumping into good old marketing resource. So we go to marketing resource here. And once we're in marketing resource, I think the internet is as tired as we are. That's what I think is happening. The whole internet, the whole world is now exhausted. The internet across the world. So you can come in here and you go to your library, and over here on the left-hand side, on the type, you put eCard, and then up here, you can put a template. I clicked on the wrong thing. Sorry about that. And you put in, Jamie, is it custom template? What's the text on that?
Yeah, it's sure.
It is Amy.
A personalized template or a customized template, or what did I say before?
So Amy, is it
Isn't it just generic?
Generic, that's the word.
Generic template. Thanks, Amy.
All right, Amy gets the first drink. So we go right here, we call this generic. Let me search for that. And it pulls up all of these little things that are just placeholders. So this is an e-card. We don't necessarily need an e-card, but this is a really good one, which is image plus text. So you open this up, and what you would do is you would download the hero image that you use from your Spotlight, and then you would upload it into here, and then you would change the text right here to include the link of this Moxi presentation. And then you can actually use marketing resource to blast out the virtual open house presentation that you just built in Moxi. So hopefully that gives you, what we're hoping is that your heads are relatively spinning, but not too much spinning. And keep in mind that we've got this completely recorded so that we can, you can refer to it later. But essentially, I'm gonna pause here at the talking nonstop for 40 minutes, and then I'm gonna have Jamie kind of take over with the chat questions. And so blast the questions away on the chat.
Thank you, Joe. Good thing you're so funny and amusing and charming and handsome.
Hey, and I want some credit. I had my daughter came in here 3 times during that presentation, and I thought I did a pretty good job of pretending that I wasn't waving her off.
I'm saying, get out of here. Excellent. So as a reminder to the last thing that Joe said, a virtual open house, just think of that one thing from marketing resource, that one column that says Park City Berkshire Hathaway agents, BHHS agents. With the click of a button, once you prepare this, you can send it out to all of your colleagues too, that they can forward on, which is fantastic as well. So just,
and the MLS also, sorry to cut you off, Jamie. The MLS is also making virtual tour links available in the listing loads. And so this is a URL. You could put whatever you want in there.
Exactly, and that was one of our questions. So the first question comes from Kevin Murray. Kevin, I'm gonna unmute you and you can go ahead and ask your questions. You're not unmuting. Kevin, you there?
I got him. I think I got him. Kevin, are you muting yourself? Okay, go, Kevin.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, what is the biggest difference? I know you're a little bit customizable here, but from our luxury tour microsites, what do you feel is the biggest difference here?
Well, from the microsite, really the difference is in containing the viewer, right, into a single spot that is all about you. So I think that the branding and the fact that you're taking all the digital content like the virtual tours that are currently in different URLs around the web. So anytime that, like, for example, if they're looking at the microsite page and they click on it, then that pops another tab for them. And as we all know, the most precious thing right now when you're trying to get their attention is their eyeballs in one spot. And so what this allows you to do is pull in that content. So you're leveraging that content. And there'll be people that find it just from the MLS, and they won't ever look at your Moxi presentation. But there'll be other people that will appreciate the fact that they don't have to go around with all these other things. And so it keeps it contained in a branded version. Your name is everywhere. So it's right there on top. And the other thing is that your contact information at the page. The other thing is that we did a very sort of simplistic thing today. A lot of the power of this is in creating those, when you add a page, is creating a page that is compelling and asking them to do something, right? So you can put in some text and a picture or a video. One of the things that Jamie and I are going to have coming to you here in the next couple of weeks is how to film your own YouTube videos. The YouTube app on your phone is fantastic. It's super easy. And if you have a Gmail address, you have your own YouTube channel. So even if nobody ever goes to your YouTube channel, you have a place to house and create videos. And so one of the coolest things would be, like, Kevin, for you in particular, I could imagine like kind of leaning forward and say, hi, I'm Kevin Murray. I'm the listing agent on this home. I'd love to talk with you a little bit more. On the following pages, you're going to see some cool pictures and some videos about the area. And I'd love to, if I can answer any questions for you. All my contact information is at the end of the presentation. And now you've got this amazing, basically TV commercial, right, that you can shoot for free on all the tools that we already have, and then get this out in as many places as you can see. I don't think that Moxi replaces some of these things. I just think it's like an amplifier and makes you be able to reach a larger audience. That's a great question.
You bet. Thanks.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Kevin. The next question is from Nicole. Nicole, I'm going to unmute you, so go ahead and ask your question.
Hi. So I was just, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Cute beanie.
Thank you. It's cold out today. But so I was just wondering, can you take this Moxi presentation and put it into the Flex system for the virtual open house stuff?
Absolutely. It's just a URL, which means that you can stick it in on any of the MLS listing forms, anywhere that you would typically put some other tour. You can absolutely add this.
Okay.
Good question.
Excellent. On that same front, perhaps Joe, because it is a link, we remind everybody how we can put it directly into social media as well.
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so let's say we're going to go ahead and do this on our Facebook page. So let's go over here to Facebook. And we're going to go to Joe's Awesome Real Estate. P.S. That's totally branded. And so you could take this. Yeah, that's the little bugger that was coming in here all the time. So we can come over here and we write a little post, and I take this presentation like this, copy, just right click, copy. I go back into my Facebook and I put this in there, Command V, and it goes out, it gets a preview of the presentation. And so if you have a situation like this where you're like, okay, that's not really what I want to see, something kind of nice or kind of cool, then go back and get a photo of the page, right? So in this case, let's see here, get some sort of random photo. There we go. Clearly explains the virtual open house we're about to see. And then you get to use this as the photo on the page. And then once you do that, you just take this text out like this. You say, click here to walk, or let's say this, to visit my virtual open house on 8690 Silver Spur. Now, obviously, the giant Hulk Yoda picture should probably be the picture of the home, right? But since I don't have it downloaded you could just use your imaginations on that part. And then we just post it. And so now we've got a post on our Facebook page that's engaging. That's also something that you can boost. You could do a bunch of other stuff like that if you need to. But now you've got a post that you can use the link in.
Excellent. Joe, we all love your nerdiness.
I'm so glad. I have a home.
Excellent. Okay. Looks like Tyler Richardson has another question. Tyler, can you unmute yourself?
He can't, Jamie. He's it's only a
Oh,
yeah.
because it's not working for me either.
Let me see if I can get him. He might. There you go.
Sure.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, is it possible to get an unbranded version of this? So, because if we send it out to other realtors, they might hesitate sending it on since our information is all in front of them. As well, if we were to use it on the MLS, it has to be unbranded.
Yeah, correct. So if you come here, then what you're going to do is on this cover page, you hit the edit button right here, and you can change all of this stuff. So you could take your, in this case, you take the agent info off like that. Hit close this, and then this is going to go away. And then if you want to make sure that it's completely unbranded, you could come in here and go down your agent profile page. And then you can either make generic, this agent profile page generic, or you can also create a blank page that just has your information on it if somebody's interested. But in your case, Tyler, when you're talking about this, you just remove the page entirely, and now you've got the virtual walkthrough that's unbranded with the exception of the brokerage name, which I believe is totally okay.
Well, I think it just needs to say, at least as far as the MLS, I don't think we could have logos, but it needs to say listing provided as a courtesy of Berkshire. So
Sure.
And maybe Kevin can answer that, whether they allow logos on that type of stuff.
Well, the other thing you could do is if you have to change the logo, again, if you hit that pencil, you could change the design on some of these things. And I believe there's a way to take off permanently the logo. So I'm going to make a note of that, and I'll get back to you guys on whether or not you can remove the logo. But you can also just create your own cover page, right? So now that we know how to go back and add pages, it's very easy to just go down here, create the new one, right?
And then you have a blank one.
Exactly. Then you just take it out that way.
Okay.
Cool.
Jamie, good questions. There's good questions in Park City.
Good questions. All right, Kevin Murray, one more question.
Joe, somewhere I saw that it said approximate market value. We're pretty confident in our listed price, and not sure we want approximate in there.
Totally agree. So the word approximate shows up on some of the listing things, but this title right here where it says approximate market value, you could do the exact same thing by actually taking a blank page and doing that way. But in this particular template, that word is going to be on there. So you could do the same thing by creating a blank page, adding this up there, and just putting in the value, and away it is. Although, honestly, approximate market value is pretty I believe it would be open for a conversation, right? So I would say that as an agent, depends on how you feel about that particular kind of word. If you're okay with the word, knowing that there's going to be some back and forth, that's great. But if not, you can do the exact same thing we were talking about before, where create a blank page, put the picture up there, and just put in, offered at $1,050,000.
Great.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin. We have several questions, Sally and Jennifer. The good part is we've recorded this, so you can go back and watch this video as many times as you'd like. And then, of course, if you're still having some trouble, you can always connect with marketing at BHHS Utah, or me directly, Jamie R. at BHHS Utah, to let me know exactly when, what you're having problems with. Joe and I will help you. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're happy to be here for you. And obviously we're all happy to have jobs as well. So we're here for you guys, whatever you need. I just would like you to have a strategic plan. For example, don't call me and say I have 74 listings, which I think that would be a great problem to have. 74 listings, and I need one of these for every single one of those, Jamie's. Please do it. I think we're going to make sure that, it's reasonable. So, for example, if you have a new listing or a listing where your seller is getting a little antsy and a little nervous, maybe you can show them, build one for them and say, this is what I'm going to do to keep momentum going forward, get some eyeballs on your property while we can't have people through your house as frequently.
That's a great idea. So Jamie, on that point, one of the greatest things you can do is build this and send it to the owner of the home and say, you put this on social media, you blast this out, especially if you've got the flow and everything else right, because now it's something that they're proud of. And it's not like you're giving them a job, but you can also say, here, I'm posting it on social media. If you want to, here's the link. You can put it on your own social media, because everyone likes to go, hey, check out my house, right? Guys, check this out. I'm trying to do this. So it's another way. Using digital platforms have so much more reach. And then sometimes the digital reach is watered down. But in this case, I think it's powerful that we could use this.
I think it's very powerful. And again, this is kind of going to go into that new normal going forward, especially in this marketplace where we have buyers that aren't here. So I think this can be really good. Very soon, Joe and I are going to do another Moxi, and on the buyer side, again, everyone that was on this call, if you haven't been to one of our Moxi trainings, you might be swimming, and I get it. So that's why we recorded this. Joe and I are going to render this video, get it up on the intranet, and then I'll email you all when it's ready to go so that you can go back and watch and pause it and split screens and do it while we're listening. But make sure that you can first log in to Moxi and have that access. And if you have any other questions, let us know. I'm also, as the virtual option, I'm also about to send out kind of step-by-step instructions for a Facebook Live event. This is another way to kind of you can use this information too and put it into your live event and have some action. And I think really with the flow, like Joe said, the intranet is tired. The internet is tired. Just getting something out there is really good to show your professionalism, show that you're still working, you're earning your money now. So make sure that you can do that. Now, also, if you don't have a listing, guess what? There are several listings here in Park City, and if you'd like to feature one of those, you can absolutely do it. Just ask one of your fellow agents if they'd be willing to have you host a Facebook Live event or a virtual open house on their listing X, Y, or Z. I can't imagine anyone not wanting you to do that, but maybe they just do the final approval on the presentation before you put it live. So just things to think about, things to keep rolling, things to keep your sellers happy, and hopefully no canceling contracts or anything like that. But again, we're here for you, and I'll send an email out here later today once the video is live on the internet. Thank you guys everybody for coming. And we will talk very soon.
Oh, there was a last second question here from Jody. Yeah, Jody, so the way you do it on Instagram is take a picture or upload a picture of the home, and then in the post itself, you just copy that URL, and then you put that in the below the picture in the text part of the photo. So that way they see the photo, and then the link is right there below in the Instagram post. So that's how you do that.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Happy Friday. It is wine 30. Go Tyler, go, baby, go.
Let's do it. Okay.
Bye,
thank
everybody.
you. All right. Bye-bye.